When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome to Thunder Valley, where the lights are bright, the tempers are short, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Tonight, the Door Cup Series playoffs roll into the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. It's round 3 of this 10-race championship chase. It's not just any night in East Tennessee, it's just the night race in Bristol, baby, as they say. Glad you can join us on Maconi Entertainment. Marty Sakala with you alongside Jeff Maconi, and we've got Christian Hill working in Mission Control. And Jeff, Bristol, always a test of survival with the high banks, the concrete surface, and the traffic. It's a mental and physical grind, but add in playoff pressure, and every lap feels like the last one.
That is true without a doubt. This is a very, very difficult track for drivers to get around, not only for short runs, but for long runs as well. You really have to be on top of your game with how you manage your tires, how aggressive you are. You want to be sure you make friends. It is a 0.5 mile track, 4 turns, opened in the early 60s, pit speed just 30 miles an hour. So if you enter under green, you better make sure you are ready and have a good strategy, because you will be fighting for your life. You're going at least 1 to 2 laps down.
Round number 3 of the 10-race playoff schedule. Believe this is a cutoff race as well, where we'll go from 16 to 12. Back-to-back short tracks for the Door Cup Series. They'll be at New Hampshire next week, then go to an intermediate in Kansas, then a road course at the Charlotte Roval, then it's Las Vegas, Talladega, Martinsville, and Phoenix to close out the 2025 season. Obviously, this series follows the real-life NASCAR schedule on weekends. Last week at Worldwide Technology Raceway, we had a playoff spoiler as Chris Essery took the win. Wasn't the dominant car of the race, but he led 64 laps in Stage 3. Trevor Baxter, the dominant car all season long, finished 3rd. And there you look at the point standings. Trevor Baxter in the catbird seat at the moment, but you look at the battle for 12th here, Jeff. It is very tight for those final spots if it goes from 16 down to 12 this evening.
Unfortunately, we don't have live points, because that would just be absolute mayhem, but you are right. It is going to be really chaotic, I guess is the only way to put it, for guys near that cut line. If you're not, I mean, even Switzer and Brown, if they have a really bad night, could be in danger, but if you're within 15 points, 20 points of that cut line, you are absolutely sweating bullets every single lap, and then it becomes more about just surviving. You don't need to finish well at first, you need to just survive and then worry about the finish.
Keep an eye on Daniel Best. He's inside that cut line. Last April, when the series was at Bristol Motor Speedway, he finished 2nd to the dominant car all season long, like I mentioned, Trevor Baxter. Qualifying just wrapping up. 23 drivers check into the last great Coliseum here this evening. And we're just a couple seconds away from getting the grid process started here this evening at Bristol Motor Speedway. A wild real-life cup race last night where we saw Christopher Bell take the win and a lot of tire wear being used. Thank you, Goodyear, for that race. That's all we can say. Look at the starting lineup this evening as Nate Pollard starts on pole. In fact, we had a tie for pole position. Pollard and Ryan Steinhoff each hitting 14.673s. Steinhoff just a fraction shy of getting pole position. That's the front row. Michael Kurgelak inside. He starts 3rd to the outside. Roland Collette in the 9. That is row number 2. Then it's row 3. Stephen Bird in the 14. And Billy Brickley to the outside in the 69. The 4th row, William Lark in the 10 and Brian Burchett in the 3. And rounding out the top 10, a pair of Dans, Danny Carpenter in the 28 and Daniel Best in the 5. Jeff?
In P11, Joshua Switzer, followed by Alan Duggar starting off 12th. And again, this is a very close field, just a couple of tenths between them. 13th, James Nesta. Thomas Freeman in 14th for this race here tonight. Michael Reeves in 15th. Thomas Hegland in 16th. Just 0.8 apart from each other. Tommy Osborne 17th. Joshua Hyatt in 18th. And what do we have? 19 tonight. Sorry, Hugh Brown is rounding out the field.
We had 19 take time. 3 drivers are going to start the race from the back, that being Trevor Baxter, Will Hewitt, and Ronald Judd. They are lining up in IL order. So actually 22 taking the green flag here this evening at the half-mile high banks of Bristol Motor Speedway. They just hosted baseball earlier this year, and now it's back to NASCAR basis. I've been to this track many times, and it is absolutely a bucket list track. Without question. Wait for 3 drivers left to grid here. We will take a look at the race analysis here in just a moment. A 325-lap battle here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And basically 325 laps, you multiply that by 2, it's 650 corners that the drivers will have to go through on the high banks. Jeff, it's kind of like, I like to compare, it's kind of like racing around a toilet bowl with how high banked it is, how steep it is.
That's, yeah, a pretty accurate comparison. You're never not on edge when you're driving here. You get a few moments where it's a little bit calmer and you're not cranking the wheel 90 degrees on the straightaways, but those straightaways are short. The corners are very, very fast. Every single line from bottom to top can work and will be used tonight. Usually what you see is drivers up on top are the ones making passes, being aggressive, and the ones on the bottom are saving their tires. We saw in the real world cup race last night that was not the case, and it was just trying to save tires like crazy. That specific tire model is not modeled into iRacing, so no major concerns there for these drivers. They're not going to be super, super concerned about their tires burning off and exploding like they were yesterday, but they are still going to be saving them and running around the bottom, so expect to see guys up on top making passes.
325 laps the distance here this evening. Stages will end at laps 80 and 160 because of the 75% fuel window. Expect the pit window at around 150 laps like normal. They'll be fine through stages 1 and 2, but we'll have to make a stop in stage number 3. 8 sets of tires. Keep that in mind. The right fronts, the right rears are going to be worn out very well this evening. No fast repairs, 41XIL, and 2 green-white checkers if we need them. Field is through turns number 3 and 4. As we say, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? This is Bristol. Showtime at the last great Coliseum. Nate Pollard with a black flag. Believe he may have jumped the start. Ryan Steinhoff in the second spot would have the provisional lead. Pollard dropping to the back. Steinhoff leads the opening lap here, Jeff.
Chaos from the beginning, you see the leader. Now Steinhoff, he's just trying to hold on, and like we said, Billy Brickley, Michael Kurzelak, they are all going to be fighting tooth and nail to try and keep up with these guys in front of them, but you definitely don't want to see the black flag right off the rip. That can throw a night into chaos here, and like I said at the beginning, 1 or 2 laps down minimum if you end up pitting under green.
And let's add this as well. A black flag is not what you want one bit, especially at a track like Bristol Motor Speedway. With 15-second laps, you're basically losing like 2 or 3 laps on average.
At least, right. At least with about 40 seconds to get from one end of pit road to the other, plus to serve the penalty. You can have anywhere from just a stop and go to all the way up to a 40-second hold. So you could even see 4 or 5 laps down. So we'll have to see how it shakes out here. The field pretty much single file here, and that's what we can expect for the beginning of this race. It is 325 laps. We don't need any heroics, and as soon as I say that, you see Roland Collett immediately dug to the inside, try and make a move, thinks better of it, and now they are back in line single file. But look at this onboard. They are getting up to about 140 miles an hour and then down to 110. 30-mile-an-hour gap doesn't sound like much, but at only a half-mile track where you're cranking laps in 15 seconds as he goes for the pass here, it is quite a jump as the caution
we got a spinner on the back straightaway. That's James Nesta in the 29 around. Nesta starting back in the 13th position this evening. Something to keep in mind as well, we didn't bring this up yet, but single pit road assignment, not like the traditional double pit road assignment that you see. Look at the replay of what causes the spin with Nesta in the 29. And it looks like he just simply lost it off for turn number 2, maybe on the gas a little early, and hello hump as well at the same time from the 17 of Freeman.
It's very easy to do here. These cars get loaded up, especially the next gens with the way their suspension works. You don't get much warning on when they're going to snap around, but as soon as it does, there's really not much you can do. The back end gets a little bit loose, and the whole car's around. You see him tap the wall there, and just the tiniest little wiggle, and the car's around. No time to react. Bam, bam, bam. 3 cars involved, but no major damage, it seems.
That's Michael Reeves we were riding on board with, who had nowhere to go in that accident. He's on pit road. In fact, repair the front bumper of that race car may have actually tackled the safer barrier. You see the front end there on the 00. Not the start Reeves wanted to his night, especially when you look at the playoff picture coming on in, where he is below on the cut line. So first caution here on the evening here at Bristol Motor Speedway. I've actually walked on this banking too in the past, Jeff. You were talking about how steep the banking is. I think I walked on here when it was the dirt surface in 2021, and it is tough walking up that puppy.
It absolutely is. I was there a couple days ago for the ARCA race, and they cut our track walk short, unfortunately, so I never even got to go out for it. I was going to go out in like the second half of it, but when you're down there and you're standing in the infield, you see how steeply banked it is here. This is a great view from the back of the pace car. It does not get any easier with extra banking. A lot of people think the more banked it is, the easier it is. Unfortunately not. It just means you can get around the corners even faster, which when things go wrong, they go wrong at a higher rate. So pace car getting ready to pull off here, and we'll get our first restart of the night.
Ryan Steinhoff selects the top. Not surprising to see here on this restart as we get set to go here. Continued door-to-door Cup Series action presented by Kinetic Gaming. Back up through the gears they go. Immediately, Steinhoff holds serve on Billy Brinkley. Kurgulek, Collette, they're door-to-door for the 3rd position. And Collette on the bottom. A lot of drivers really liking this low side for right now at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's a track that's been top dominant in the past, but then you add in the resin, which, thank goodness we don't have that in iRacing. Not really an issue. It's where we can see both groups be a factor. And we're starting to see her near the front. Brinkley challenging second group for the race lead on Steinhoff, Jeff.
You'll see a lot of these battles where the outside line is the one where it's really moving. That's where you're going to be making passes and burning your tires off as a result. So Brinkley, right now, he's pushing hard. He needs to get this passed on. And what Steinhoff is trying to do on the bottom is be fast enough to not let him by while also not doing anything that'll be detrimental to his own tires. So every single lap that Brinkley's at the top, he's pushing harder. He's burning his tires. He's not where he really wants to be. He wants to be back down on the bottom. Steinhoff, he doesn't have to be fast. He just has to be a little bit
hang on, Steinhoff.
But there he goes.
What a save by the 74. Loses the lead. Our 3rd different lead of the race is Billy Brinkley. This may cost him collateral, but luckily gets a gift as Collette hits the wall. So the 9 will have to try and regroup and get this runner-up spot for the 74.
Now, he didn't lose too much there, which is good. He can maintain. He's under a second back. Nothing insurmountable, but that gap for Brinkley, now he can be comfortable. He doesn't have to burn his tires off. He doesn't have to do anything too aggressive, but we'll see what he ends up doing with it. He's already lost about a 10th. We'll see if that maintains and if Steinhoff runs him back down. As we see one on the apron back there.
William Lark
went 3 wide. That is not the place you want to be. You want to be low, but you don't want to be off the track like that.
Yeah, it's William Lark of the 10. They got really sideways, the same spot where the 28 of Freeman spun out. Give me 29 of Freeman spun. I'm sorry, not Freeman, pardon me. Nesta, I believe it was, correction. So, but yeah, a lot of wild action going on. Billy Brinkley up 5 spots. You're watching Alan Duggar, who is the second biggest mover of this race so far. He's up 6 positions in the 6th spot. Just made a pass moments ago on Brian Burchett. Also got Will Hewitt in the back, starting to make some moves of his own. The number 11 up 7 spots after starting back in the 22nd position. Hugh Brown also losing some ground in the 35. He's the odd man up on that second groove. Now finds a way and slots back in line. But right now, if you're Alan Douglas, we ride on board with him. Just try to stay patient at the moment here, Jeff.
Patience is the big key of the night. You don't want to fall back too far and lose, I guess, too many spots, because passing here can be very difficult. But Billy Brickley seems to be making it look easy, up 5 spots. Alan Duggar up 6. But for everyone that you pass, you have people losing spots as well. You see William Lark down 10, Nate Pollard down 20. He had the black flag right at the beginning, and he's going to just spend all night trying to rebound. The biggest thing here, though, is 325 times around this place. You're going to hear us say that a lot. As he gets in the wall, you can't make mistakes like that by getting up into the wall. You have to be aggressive, but you can't be this over the top of it where you're bumping into the wall and burning your tires off quickly, because then you will plummet like a rock as soon as he gets 10, 20, 30 laps into a run.
We just had a moment with Josh Hyatt in the 2. We'll see if we get a replay on it for you to see at home, but Hyatt got sideways off of turn 2, caught the wall. He is now on pit road to repair that ride. So Joshua Hyatt and his Camry down here, as we take a look, this is what happened to Hyatt in the 2. That's Pollard behind him in the 16.
Now, Pollard is not on the lead lap. He is one down, so they're running hard. You see almost contact, and then just gets a little bit loose on exit into the inside wall. That is major damage if it bent the toe. If it didn't and he gets lucky, then he'll just be fine and have to repair the front bumper. So the downside of these next-gen cars is the damage is either catastrophic or nothing at all. And by the fact that he's still sitting on pit road and is now going to be multiple laps down, that seems to be catastrophic.
Yeah, you can see it there. I think it's the front left that he caught the wall with. That's very wonky. Hyatt playoff driver as well at the same time. So now what he really wants. And this is what I love about Bristol Motor Speedway ever since it became a playoff race in 2020. And during the night race, you just don't know what is going to happen. Whether it be tempers, whether it be the action on the track, whether drivers have issues. The fact that this has been a playoff race for 5 years just has brought this race to a whole new level that it really does feel like a crown jewel race.
It is a fan and driver favorite for a reason. I don't think there's any driver that really hates Bristol. I mean, they might be nervous about it, they might fear the track, but I think any sane person would as well. Look at Alan Duggar. He is trying a different line than everyone else in front of him. He's moving up the track and running higher, even when he's not making a pass right this second. Now, whether he's setting up the pass is to be seen and not able to quite get that run to the outside because he's already starting to burn up his stuff, or he's just thinking running the middle will be a little bit easier. It can work, but you have to be very careful with it. That 41, though, down on the inside, very barely not clear now. There we go. They are side by side for 5th. Alan Duggar being aggressive early on. We'll have to see how it plays out, and I guarantee you every other driver here is watching this, taking notes and saying, all right, what's it going to be for when I want to start making passes? Is he going to burn his tires off and then drop like a rock? Or is this really not making a difference and he's going to be able to hold on for the long run? Ryan Steinhoff now 1.9 seconds off of Billy Brickley, so we'll have to see how worth it is to be aggressive and push here, as it is a conga line from second on back, but Billy Brickley pulling away with a 2-second gap.
And maybe starting to turn from a conga line to a hornet's nest here. That's 5 cars under a blanket for this runner-up spot. Ryan Steinhoff, Roland Collette, Alan Duggar, Michael Kurgulak, and Stephen Bird, as we're on lap number 38 of 80 here in stage number 1. Brickley the race leader here, and you know, I thought we were going to expect this to be a track position race early because of how Bristol is a short track with the heavy traffic and the frequent cautions. But we are seeing drivers make moves early, and speaking of cautions, we get our second yellow of the night, and it's for Josh Switzer in the 6.
Pulling back up on track now, we'll have to take a look back at what happened, but Switzer sort of just maintaining for most of the night tonight, as a lot of these drivers are. Taking a look here, he is in line behind that 16. You see the 99 behind as well.
Oh, right there.
Touches the apron, and you could see it before I did, and he's immediately looks exactly the same way as the 2's wreck. It was just one tiny little wiggle, and then you slam the inside wall.
Turn 2 Calamity Corner to a lot of drivers early here. Couple of drivers making their way onto pit road. Thomas Freeman, Tommy Osborne, Josh Switzer, Michael Reeves. Now, this should be something that we should talk about here as well, because Jeff, drivers, 8 sets of Goodyear tires they have, and tire management and wear awareness is very key here tonight.
It is, and doing the quick math on it, you don't want to be pitting before lap 36. So you want to put at least 36 laps on each set of tires if you are playing it out as evenly, as close to even as possible. So that would be, for 325 laps, about 36 laps per set. Now, we're on lap 41, but we did have a caution, and track position is very, very important here, and everyone's going to be staying out. Nobody's taking the bait and coming in, which probably for the best. These drivers know and are seeing already you need to be in front of the guy you want to, if you want to stay where you are, I guess is the key to racing. But at a place like Bristol, where they're going to be maintaining so much, just stay where you are. Don't give up the track position for tires. It's not quite worth it yet.
For those wondering about that math that Jeff did, it also includes, I believe, the stage breaks too. We'll see, obviously, everybody come down pit road for tires and fuel. And again, that's that Maconi setup shop math that Jeff's got years of experience of.
Something like that.
Lights should be off, and there they go off here as we get set to come back to green here at Bristol. 150,000 seats around this racetrack, and the steep towering grandstands. Only place that guests could say really has that stadium-like atmosphere, as, like I mentioned, they've hosted baseball, they hosted college football a couple years ago. Heck, they got the giant Jumbotron there, Colossus, that's insanely huge. You got to see it for yourself in person. But set to come back to this green flag, Billy Brickley, Alan Duggar. That is your front row when we come back to green. Keep an eye on Duggar in this number 15, how he does on this restart as we're back to green, and he's caught sleeping. Coletta around the outside, trying to grab the runner-up position in the 9. Steinhoff second, Stephen Bird is up to 5th past Michael Kurdzielak, but it's side by side for that runner-up spot. Into 3 and 4, they're up to speed. As I say that, we slow down again. Yellow is out, Thomas Freeman around in turn 3.
Cautions do breed cautions in the real world and the virtual world. The restarts at Bristol are very difficult because once you have about 2 or 3 laps, everyone gets in line. But when you're side by side, one tiny mistake, when you're really pushing the car hard, especially with somewhat worn tires, it's very easy for a mistake to happen. So we're taking a look here right from the restart, the 17, nobody on his outside, but they are coming up quick behind him. You see the 6, he's bottom of 3, Nate Pollard there, and just gets tagged as he tries to move up to the middle. No major damage, but certainly going to want a new set of tires after sliding sideways down half the backstretch.
You know, I wonder if Freeman thought for a moment it was going to be 3 wide when it eventually wasn't at the same time.
It's one of those tricky threes where the guy on the bottom isn't 3 wide, but the guy in the middle is. So the guy in the middle can't move. The guy on the bottom thinks, well, I've got plenty of room. There's nobody up at the wall, and tries to move up a little bit, and 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. That contact is far from rare at a place like Bristol, as we see 2 drivers coming down pit road.
Pair of drivers pitting this time, James Nesta, Josh Switzer, like Jeff mentioned. And, you know, cautions come out at any point in the race here. You know, you'll have those occasional long runs at Bristol. You'll have maybe a bunch of short runs from time to time here at the same time. You know, And we kind of talked about this earlier on here, Jeff. You know, with so many laps, so much traffic at times, impatience kills. Drivers, it looks like they may be getting over-aggressive early, and that can just lead to basically wrecks or damage that cost drivers a race. So you got to be disciplined to conserve the machine and stay out of trouble and not force a bad pass. Should be a quick yellow here. We'll check if the lights go out this time by, and they do. Just over 30 laps remaining here in stage 1. And glad you could join us here on Maconi Entertainment for Door Cup Series playoff action. Murray Scale alongside Jeff Maconi. If you're watching on Maconi Entertainment on the YouTube channel, check in with us. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. Paul checking in, says early Pepperin, and Mama Stani out there rooting for the number 74 of Ryan Steinhoff, running in the 4th position. We come back to green. Billy Brickley on the top. Let's watch Colette closely, but keep an eye on Steinhoff, who could be in the catbird seat for 2nd. We're back to green, Jeff.
Back to green and side by side once again for 2nd.
And never mind.
Oh boy.
This time it's for Hugh Brown in the 35. On a restart, and once again the cautions are breeding cautions.
Restarts are tough here. It's a tough track to get a good restart on, and if you aren't great right off the rip, then that's a lot of nose damage as well. But if you're not great straight off the rip, then you end up pushing really hard, which causes you to spin out, and then you're even further behind the 8 ball. So
here's a look at what happened
from the restart. Let's see what happens.
Watch the 3 of Brian Burchett. I think this starts with him. Just a big accordion stack up. You see those on and off at Bristol Motor Speedway. The 10 of Larkin's a big piece of it. And I'm watching this, and Burchett actually was in 4th gear. That will happen. I think that typically leads to that. Yep. And Burchett didn't realize he did not go down to 2nd. Obviously, you want to be in those high gears when you're under caution, so you can try and save fuel at times. But just make sure you put it down to 2nd or sometimes 3rd.
I mean, you can even get away with a 1st gear restart, depending on your gear ratio. Not unheard of, but usually in 2nd. Certainly never 4th, though. That is fair enough.
So another yellow flag here at Bristol Motor Speedway, this time off a restart. Bristol, one of the few tracks on the Cup Series schedule that has a concrete surface, very different, creating that unique tire wear and the heat cycles. And man, like I mentioned before we took the green flag, Jeff, we saw a lot of it be a factor Saturday night with the Goodyear tire. Felt a lot like what we saw in the spring 2024 race. However, though, we didn't see how this time we saw rubber down on the racetrack and just a lot of marbles on the outside.
Well, as a driver in the NASCAR ARCA Menards series, the only series that uses General Tire, I believe I am contractually obligated to say, of course it was the tire just falling apart. They should have been running on Generals, but as someone who lives with their fantastic girlfriend, Bridget, who works for Goodyear, I am inclined to say that they just built what they were told to by NASCAR and did what they had to do. So I am currently stuck between a rock and a hard place. If anyone would like to rescue me, then please do so quickly, because I will either be contractually thrown off a cliff or thrown out of my own house, as the green flag is now back out and we are back to racing, thank God.
I have a bigger question though that people want to know. Have you saved big money at Menards?
I've been saving big money at Menards. I absolutely love Menards, and Colette is in the wall. Maybe he can get a new old touring quarter panel and front fender from Menards. They are fantastic, and I do highly recommend them, even if I'm not being paid to say so.
So Duggar up to second, Steinhoff third after Collette with a slight scrape through the turns number 3 and 4, drops down to 4th on the leaderboard. Now Stephen Bird trying to challenge John Kurgelek for 6th. They've been neck and neck with each other all day long, but how about the guy in 5th? Daniel Bess has taken advantage of a lot of these cautions. He's cracked the top 5 for the first time tonight, started 10th, running 5th.
He is one of 10 drivers in the field, 11 drivers in the field who has not yet pit for tires. So he's at the tail end of the guys who have not pit. So he is looking out for, I'm making that up, I'm completely dead wrong, sorry. He is halfway through the guys who have not yet pit. So he is keeping an eye on that rear view mirror to make sure that the faster guys on fresher tires aren't going to completely run him over, but we'll see how much of an impact the new tires make here shortly. You see Nate Pollard as well, up to P13. He is now back on the lead lap. He fell at least one down. He was sort of flirting on the edge there. The top 20 cars are all on the lead lap, and then you have Joshua Switzer in the 6, now 4 laps down, Joshua Hyatt in the 2, 35 laps down. So it's been a rough night. I believe both of those are off the track currently.
Those wondering on the tire situation, Tommy Osborne, highest driver amongst the drivers that have pitted, currently scored in 11th. Stephen Bird, seen a good battle in front of him. Kurgelek, and believe that is the 5 of Best for 5th. That's a good battle once again. Kurgelek trying to get that spot back on the outside. It's working pretty well. Now he'll cross over on the 9 of Collette in the race for 4th.
This is a great battle here, and we've seen these battles sort of pop up, but they last 3, 4, 5 laps. Nobody's really been able to just jump to the outside and immediately pull away, and the last time we had a battle like this, it ended up with one driver spinning off the bottom, so hopefully that is avoided here. But like I was saying earlier, right now, the guy on the bottom, he doesn't need to be fast. He just needs to at least keep that other car up there for as long as possible, and maybe he'll get lucky and pull clear like the 41 did, or if he's going to get past, make the guy on the outside work really hard, burn those tires off, and use up as much of their car as possible so that they can take advantage very soon and get back around them. As now Collette is going to be under fire once again here. It's sort of half there, half not with the 12 car. You don't want to do that. And middle 3 now, it's their contact, one in the wall.
There is some bumper-to-bumper, door-to-door contact. Baxter's got a toe link broken, and he dropped Collateral in spots. He's up for the wall once again. A big problem with the 12. He won earlier in the playoffs, so shouldn't really be a big issue, but man, oh man, not what Baxter wanted. I'm glad I didn't say anything. I almost about jinxed him, because the last driver anyone wants to see in their rear view mirror is Trevor Baxter, and he started from the back, was battling for 5th, and now up in the wall, we have to try once again.
Finally, he is able to get back in line and try to sort of just get back going and get his head on straight. Not only is this a very physically demanding track for drivers in the real world and on iRacing with so many laps being turned, but it is very difficult mentally. You have no time for any sort of mental relaxation. You are constantly driving on the edge, fighting for his position and holding off the guy behind you. You can't afford to make any sort of mistake, and that requires being mentally sharp the entire time. One tiny slip up here, and Collette will be at the mercy of Stephen Bird, who's been having himself a solid season so far as well.
10 laps to go here in stage 1. Right now, board Stephen Bird in 7th. Billy Brickley leading by 3/10 on Alan Duggar. Now it's a 4-car race basically here for the 6th position, with Collette, Bird, Carpenter, Haglund behind them. A lot of side-by-side racing this time. Will Hewitt and Nate Pollard also in a good battle for 10th on the track. William Lark behind them. Look at this. Basically a DRS train here in the center of 3 and 4.
It is, and they're trading back and forth on lap times. There's one lap, Roland will be quicker by a 10th, and then Stephen Bird will be quicker by a 10th, and Roland's quicker by a 10th, and Stephen's quicker by a 10th, and then Danny Carpenter's quicker by a 10th. They're all sort of running right around each other, and you see Collette trying to move up the track, probably find a little bit more speed, get a good run off of one corner exit and build a gap, but the risk to that is what we're seeing here, where it opens the door on the inside. If you don't get that big run on exit, Now you just have someone to your inside and you're battling side by side for position. And we're seeing here right up into the wall and into turn 1. The 14 not getting as good an entry, but really pulling hard on corner exit.
Battle for the race lead happening here off of turn 4. Brickley and Duggar. The 15's been peeking underneath the quarter panel of the 69 many times, but Brickley just getting the better drive off of turn 2 with that over 30 plus degrees of banking to his advantage, and Brickley able to clear for right now with 4 laps to go. There's a playoff point on the line here.
1 point can be massive, so I think these drivers are going to really be pushing themselves to get it. But right now, you just see you get that run in the center, and then you lose it on the straightaway. Well, I say that, and then not really, but you'll see here, it's just back and forth, a little bit of back and forth.
Whoa.
And now, Brickley is almost falling victim to Duggar, and he's getting a good run in that 15.
I think the 69 car of Brickley had a bobble there, realizing that Duggar was right there in the rear view mirror. We got a battle here for the stage 1 win. Drag racing off for turn 2. Pit road is closed for the rest of this stage. Billy Brickley, Alan Duggar. Stage 1 win is on the line. 1 more lap remaining. This time of the line, it's Brickley by a nose. It's about to be a good battle. 1 car ahead in lap traffic. Ronald Judd won't be an issue. Here they come down the back and into turn number 3. Brickley and Duggar for the stage 1 victory. Who get the advantage? Duggar looking for the drive off, but it's Billy Brickley at the end for stage 1.
That could not have been more than half a tenth. I would say probably about 0.03. These drivers still running hard, but stage 1 now wrapping up. Billy Brickley takes it. Alan Duggar not far behind in second. Michael Kurzelek in third, Steinhoff fourth, and Daniel Best rounding out the top 5. He was able to hold off Stephen Bird, Danny Carpenter, Roland Collett, and Nate Pollard and Thomas Hecklin to the end.
Let's watch pit road, and it is now opened here for stage 1. That margin of victory, by the way, in the stage there, Jeff, 200ths of a second. So long pit road the drivers have to go through. Enter in turn 2, exit in turn 1. One of the more unique pit roads in the NASCAR Cup Series Tour.
Trevor Baxter choosing to stay out. Now, pit road does open very quickly here, so
yes,
it's very possible to miss it, and that's coming from someone who has missed it this week while running. James Nesta also stays out, but he has pit twice, has only 35 laps on his tires, as well as Michael Reeves staying out. He has pit 3 times last pit 41 laps ago. Hugh Brown looks like he's rolled through. This is going to be a very interesting run off pit road, though, as Alan Duggar gets it over Brickley by a car length.
However, Ronald Judd beat both of them, and I believe the 64 may have missed his pit box. That's the case. So it's Duggar, then Brickley, Steinhoff, Nate Pollard up to 4th, playing strategy with 2 tires, and Daniel Best in 5th. Got to step aside, take a very quick break. When we come back, stage 2 in just a moment on Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Back here with Door Cup Series action presented by Kinetic Gaming, set to begin stage number 2. Billy Brickley, the stage 1 winner. As we're ready, back to the green flag we go. But it's Alan Duggar getting off with the jump here this time and has the advantage. Duggar, then Brickley, Steinhoff in 3rd, Nate Pollard recovering from his start penalty in 4th, and Daniel Best rounds out the top 5. Here comes Brickley once again, trying to regain the lead back from Alan Duggar.
And what a recovery it has been for Pollard. We've been talking all night about how difficult it's been, you see side-by-side with lead, how difficult it's been to make passes, and Pollard has worked his way back from at least one lap now, back up to now in the top 5. He's got a fresh set of tires on his car. He is really in good shape. He's only burnt one more set than the guys in front of him, so
here goes Brickley.
One run will be okay, but Brickley now side-by-side for the lead on Duggar. Maybe this inside will work as he's clear.
Yeah, Duggar left the door open there for Bailey Brickley. Oh, Brickley lost it all by himself! And we've got a stack up on the bottom. The 74 of Steinhoff goes around, and the caution flag waves.
Wow. Well, that is, that's the risk here you take. When with Bristol, you push it a tiny, tiny bit too hard, and like we were saying earlier, you push it just a little bit too much, and the car is gone before you realize it. You don't have a chance to save it. As soon as the car is loose, it's already too late, and you're going around. There's nothing that you can do.
You know, I don't know if he caught the apron or if he caught a little bump there and turned one on the bottom or not. Let's take a look and see what happened, because he looked okay there for just a moment, but this will definitely change everything here in this playoff race. And back end just simply came around. I think he just went too deep into turn number 1 on the bottom, and yeah, back end just got sideways. That was the 74 of Steinhoff that also went around. See a bunch of drivers taking evasive action here with... And luckily, it was only 2 drivers that spinning. The front 4 suffering damage of some sort. Watch Steinhoff in the 74. So everyone just trying to stack up. I'm interested in seeing the damage on the 16 of Pollard here, because that was a pretty good love tap. And looking live on his end, I don't really see anything, Jeff, on the 16.
Maybe he got lucky. You can get lucky here, and like I said earlier, with the next gen, the damage is either non-existent or catastrophic. There really is no in between, and we saw on the 2 Joshua Hyatt, very similar instance, car's killed. And you look at Nate Pollard, car's perfectly fine. It's really just luck of the draw and praying to RNGesus that you get a good one, and Nate Pollard did, and Joshua Hyatt didn't. There's 4 cars now on pit road. Thomas Freeman, Tommy Osborne, Joshua Switzer, Joshua Hyatt. Switzer is 5 laps down. Osborne is 2 laps down now, and Hyatt now 68. I believe he is done for the night.
Well, that is one of my keys too. Like you mentioned, luck. You got to have a little luck at times, whether it be cautions or restarts working well, staying out of someone else's wreck. All of it can tip the balance. Even the best can't guarantee that everything will go their way. So, all right, set to come back to green. For those wondering, stage 2 will end at lap 160. On lap number 93 of this race, Duggar on the outside. He and Nate Pollard share row 1. Daniel Best, Stephen Bird now row number 2. Danny Carpenter, Roland Collette row number 3, followed by Thomas Hegland, William Lark, Brian Burchett, Michael Kurdzielek. That is the top 10. We're back to green and a tough restart from Nate Pollard. Stephen Bird says thank you. He moves up to the runner-up spot.
Now Nate Pollard trying to get a good run going on the bottom as Duggar pulls away. He's got at least half a second already, if not more. And that 14 of Stephen Bird is very, very strong here when given the opportunity, and he needs to perform.
Caution.
He's able to pull out, but caution is back out.
It's Ronald Judd in the number 64 that... I mean, I guess you could say, just looking at it quickly, not a complete loop, but not bad of a save, but it's with all alone here in that Weber Grill 64 ride, and you'll see the cause in just a moment. Judd starting back in 15th in this race tonight.
what a combination of sponsors on that
I
car.
know. I'm thinking the same thing too.
Buster's Corner is a YouTube channel that does a lot with the next gen cars. Abu Garcia, Viagra, and Weber Grills, as well as Logitech. So I have never seen him turn down a sponsor. And let me tell you, that is quite the combination on just the blank white car too. I love it. That is, if you're gonna go around in style. That is a good looking car.
Get all those sponsors some credit too, but I guess that moment was a tough pill to swallow.
And thank you, Marty, for giving me the social media clip for
You're
probably
welcome.
Tuesday morning. So that is lap 97. If someone in the chat could please clip that so that I can go and download that. But lap 97 of the race, I have got that written down. Thank you, Marty.
You're welcome. All right, how many of those will we get tonight because of the yellow flags we'll have to see. Lights are still on the pace car here at the moment. Obviously, we've seen multiple grooves working here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Bottom lane has been fast at times in the middle long run. Top lane is dominant on these restarts. The middle groove at times can build off as rubber starts to build on the concrete surface. We've yet to see, surprisingly though, Jeff, we've yet to see lap traffic play a factor with the caution flags we've had. We've been close at times. Typically, lap traffic comes early in these runs, but surprisingly enough, even with a 22 car field, we've yet to see it tonight.
I feel like 22 cars at Bristol is about as perfect as you can get. It's enough where there's constantly action, but it's not hitting lap cars every 5 laps just because of the sheer number of cars. So getting ready for this restart here. Alan Duggar leading the way, Stephen Bird, Daniel Best, Nate Pollard, William Lark, your top 5. Roland Collins still holding strong there. He seemed to have burnt his tires off a little bit late in the first stage, so maybe he'll be able to stay on top here for the second one and try something new, or throw the spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks a second time. We'll see, as Duggar gets a great jump on that outside. We've seen a really good restart from the leader each and every time now, as Daniel Best trying to make his last name work as he's going for the lead now. I think he's going to carry that momentum and try and make a run on Duggar.
Give credit not to Daniel Best, but also William Lark. They're both in their highest spots of the race. Best second, Lark fourth, and Best peaks downstairs here on the 15 for the race lead. Can he get the drive off? Yes, he can, but look at the run the 10 had on the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. Lark is through up to third. 6 cars under a blanket for the race lead.
Mark,
there goes Best.
You can't say things like that and then throw it to me with a straight face. You can't do that to me. They're side by side for the lead. Lap 102 as Daniel Best struggling a little bit on that inside. Alan Duggar making the outside work, but like we've talked about, running that outside line will burn up your tires more, and then when you jump back down to the bottom, you might see what happened with Brickley, where first lap down back on the bottom, immediately spun out because that right rear was so hot.
So Best now up to second, now down to the basement line for right now. Collette still trying to fight back here. Can he get the top groove to work? Yes, he can. Edges out. William Lark in the line for the third position. Caution flag waves here. We've got Ryan Steinhoff around. In the 74 also collects Freeman in the 17 too. Second spin of the night for the 74. Yeah, that left front definitely messed up once again. So both drivers forced to come down to pit road. Reports that they have meatball flags. And here's a look at what caused Steinhoff to lose it. And he had already gone head on the inside safe for Barrett and T-boned there by Freeman. That's a very 2 hard impacts that the 74 took. Racing Trevor Baxter for position. All by himself.
just a little bit loose on corner exit. And right here, it's already bad. You see that left front wheel hopping. This is where it goes from bad to worse. Wow. If it wasn't going to the scrapyard before, as we get a nice view of the Viagra car as he goes right by there. Yeah, if it wasn't already headed to the scrapyard, it was certainly going to be there with that contact after the caution.
Yeah, you know, I think watching the onboard Freeman, I think he thought that Steinhoff was going to reverse to the outside, so Freeman cut all the way down. And once he just made the lane change, he was just holding on to that wheel for dear life.
I mean, in all fairness, he didn't have hardly any time to check up for it. You know, you got to just power on through. So 17, a lot of front end damage there on that car. We mentioned as well the 74 with a meatball flag, Steinhoff. He was having himself a very, very good day, but now going to be probably relegated to, if not completely out of the race, at least 20 to 30 laps down, best case scenario.
He'll have to make a new iRace plan for next week when the series heads to New Hampshire. You're pushing it. You're pushing it. I've already looked up that website, by the way. That's actually pretty cool. It's a comprehensive iRacing companion as well, for those wondering as well. So,
right, they should not be looking it up on their own, because they should be tuning in to continue watching right here on Maconi Entertainment.
I mean, you can do two things at once.
No, full attention here on Maconi Entertainment. From one Maconi to the world of Maconi Entertainment, you should be right here and right here only. And thank you to everyone who is tuned in and watching as we get ready to go back green.
If you like what you're seeing, by the way, hit the subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Marty Sakala, Jeff Maconi, Christian Hill all with you. Back up through the gears as Alan Duggar holds serve. Daniel Best down to second. But watch William Lark once again. Been very good up on that groove next to the safer barrier. Can he get the runner-up spot? Won't have the distance to hang on there. The 35 of Hugh Brown. Dirt tracks it, overcorrects, and no caution yet. He's stopped below the apron. Nobody coming. So if Hugh keeps this car going, we should stay green. And we will. Leaders are coming though. Hang on here. The tank car getting slowed up, but finds a way around the outside. That was an accident basically waiting to happen.
That is pretty incredible that we stayed green there, but somehow, some way, nobody has touched anything or anyone, and we are good. The 35
hang on,
one lap down, and is now fighting for the lucky dog.
Stephen Bird sideways off for turn 2, loses a spot. How about Trevor Baxter? He has cracked the top 6 after having that one moment earlier in the race when he was battling for 5th, had some contact, got really sideways, up the wall he went. And now Baxter's regained ground. He's in the 6th position. Behind him, it's Pollard and Bird side by side for 7th. Danny Carpenter trying to get a run in that 28 around the outside. And up to 8th he goes. Meanwhile, the front 5 have checked out. Duggar hasn't been able to pull away too much from Daniel Best in the 5, who's been trying to grab the race lead. Collette trying to rebound to a top 2 spot. There's the Bristol bump and run, and it was too much of a bump and run. Best goes into the inside wall, but luckily able to keep it straight. He won't be too pleased about that. That's Bristol for you, basically.
Wow, the bump and run on the straightaway. And I want to throw this out as well. The only car on track right now that has been faster than Duggar consistently is Nate Pollard. Nate Pollard is out here running a very good race. He is getting himself back up in position. He's currently P6, but he's about 6/10 off the guy in front of him. He is the only guy that is currently outrunning the leader, Alan Duggar. Everyone else in line running about a 10th, 2/10 off. But I think Brickley right here is going to be the one making the move on the 9. He is right up on that bumper. That's going to be our next battle for position.
Where in the world did he come from? He spun just to begin stage number 2 while leading this race, and he's recovered up to the 3rd position. A great comeback by this driver as he races for Collette for 3rd. But once again, like I said, every driver's worst nightmare in this series when Trevor Baxter's in the rearview mirror battling for a position. This was the winner too, by the way, keep in mind, back in April at Bristol.
Baxter already knows how to get it done, and he is having himself a surprisingly quiet day so far. He's just been quietly running up near the front, but I think he's going to sit back, let Brickley make a move on Collett, and then take advantage once that battle peters out. So we'll see if that does end up being the case, or if he says he gets tired of it and just wants to go for a move as he moves up the track a little bit, maybe. But if I'm him, you have no pressure out the back. You don't have to worry about the guys behind you. You just let them battle in front of you, burn their stuff off, and then take advantage when they're done.
Under 40 laps to go here in stage 2. Brickley feeling the pressure. Baxter had pulled up to the quarter panel. But nice exit, though, for the driver of that number 69. Meanwhile, William Larkin lose a spot. Actually going to give the spot up to Nate Pollard, the 16, up to the top 5 for the first time in a while. And now Danny Carpenter in 6th. Believe that's the highest spot he's been running today.
As he's a bit off the pace, that 10 car. He's just lets the 14 go right on by.
I wonder if Lark maybe possibly saving his stuff. Race is on for second, though. Brickley on that spoiler of the 9. Up the hill the 9 goes. Brickley diamonds, though, through 1 and 2. And Brickley's got the line to his advantage. Collette, good corner exit. And the 9 car hangs on to second.
I say kind of able to hold on because he's not really pulling away by running that middle line, which you do to carry a lot of momentum on exit. But it's enough to hold off Brickley and keep him behind, keep him in the dirty air. And it's letting Duggar pull away. Right now, they're running about a 1/10.5 per lap off of the leader. So every lap that they're behind, they are just losing more and more time to the 15. So the 15 wants to see Collett in his rearview mirror. He knows that Brickley's a little bit quicker and being a little bit more aggressive. So the longer that the 15 sees the 9 in his mirror, the happier he's going to be. And the longer it also is before the 12 can make a move and get around. But now Nate Pollard is still running about the same pace, a little bit quicker than Duggar, is now up to 5th.
Yeah, matching race pace with the front 4 at the moment. You know, we're in the middle of this race here, Jeff, as well. And this is another key I kind of had coming on into this race today is adaptability and in-race adjustments, because this track changes throughout the race all the time, whether it be track temp, grip levels, rubber build-off, tire fall-off, etc. If you can read the track and adjust your line well and adjust the setup during pit stops, whether it be tightness, looseness, handling, you'll stay competitive, and that's actually kind of a way. And Christopher Bell admitted this last night in his post-race media. He and his crew chief did this well recently.
That is for sure, and reading the track is important, but reading the chat is also very important, I think, as we see a side-by-side battle here. But Ryan Steinhoff says, thanks, 17. Referencing an earlier incident, Thomas Freeman now off the track, 27 laps down. Steinhoff still in front of him by only 1 spot, though. So we got a little drama on the track, we got a little drama in the chat, and this has turned out to be a pretty darn good race, as now Carpenter trying to put the moves on Nate Pollard for 5th.
Carpenter trying to see where he's a little better than Pollard here at the moment, and that second groove, the middle groove, working very well. Neutral territory for Carpenter. Can it pay off, though, at the moment? We'll see if he can. Just staying right up on that quarter panel. But the line looking really good, though, for Pollard at 16. And so Carpenter will just reset as we ride on board with him.
And these guys are running at about the same pace as Duggar. Pollard was quicker. Now they're running about the same pace. But don't look now, but Stephen Bird is picking up the pace, and he is now looking to be the fastest car on track. Michael Kurdzalek also running about a 10th quicker than the leader. Daniel Best putting down some good laps. So now that this run is starting to get a bit up there in number of laps, they're certainly going to want to pit for tires for the next caution. Now that they have a long run under them, some of the guys further back are starting to really pull on these leaders, about a 10th a lap, which in a place like Bristol, where you have 325 of them, definitely will add up and make a difference quickly.
Makes you wonder if some drivers are saving their stuff on this run for late in the stage. Carpenter sent this up. Outbreaks Pollard, though, going into 3. We'll see if that pays off there. Nearly catches the wall that time, and this time pulls up to the doorstep. Try to say ding dong hello off for turn number 2, but couldn't rob him there that time of the spot. And they're staying even to even here off the corner. Hang on, Pollard goes around. Just hard racing with Carpenter, and the caution flag waves once again.
Pollard now with heavy damage to the front of that car after, you know, it's tough, and that was very, very close right there. It's so tough. You really have to listen to the spotter calls closely, and sometimes they don't even come in time with how quickly things change here at Bristol. Taking a look back at this replay, they've been side by side. Pollard is clear. Pollard is clear in the corner. Now he's all the way up. He's at his door. Pollard pulling, and just barely ever so slightly not clear. Certainly a racing deal. Wasn't anything malicious. They've been side by side for 10 laps, but it's so tough with those judgment calls, and you see 1, 2 close calls right there, and let's have a third, a fourth, and very close 5th. Oh, very, very close call there, but you got to get moving quick so that you don't fall behind the pace car.
Now this is making the strategy call interesting with under 20 to go here in the stage. We're going to see some drivers take the gamble here on pit stops. Remember, again, like I mentioned, drivers, 8 sets of tires with them in this race. William Lark pitting, Daniel Best pitting, and this could possibly pay off here because we just had, I guess you could say, our longest run of the race, and they'll have basically 60 laps or so of fresher Goodyear Eagles compared to the top 9 when we come back to green here, Jeff.
That it is, and you'll see a lot of these guys did end up staying out. I believe the top 9 did, with William Lark being the first on new tires, Daniel Best, Will P. Hewitt, all on new tires. I think that is the correct call. You're losing about half a second to 3/4 of a second on old tires here with how long into the run they are. And with how many sets of tires you have, you're pretty well safe doing it. But we've seen new tires be very, very loose. We've seen cautions breed caution. So the math says pitting is the correct call, but gut intuition might be saying that it's just too risky and you need the track position more.
So our first gamble of the race, basically, to see if this will work, the tires or the track position. And it could determine the difference between stage points and playoff points for sure. So Alan Duggar on the top, he and Roland Collette share row 1, Billy Brickley, Trevor Baxter row 2. You've got Danny Carpenter, Stephen Bird row 3, Brian Burchett, Michael Kurzlak row 4, and then the drivers that pitted here. Thomas Hegland, William Lark, the first to pit. He restarts in the 10th position. As we come back to the green flag, we'll have 14 laps of racing left here in stage 2. Duggar fires back to green.
Everyone getting single file very, very quickly, which for most restarts is a good sign, but with how much quicker the new tires will be. You saw the 10 back there. Look at him. He's just pulling car lengths at a time as there is a little bit of drama and things get a little bit squirrely, but we survived so far. Look at that 10 car. It is on rails. It is just gobbling up the lead in front of him. It is pulling car lengths at a time.
Makes you think Daniel Best would have had an opportunity, but on that restart got held up by Hegland in that 99, and the high side's the place to be on these restarts. And look at William Lark picking drivers off one by one. Each lap will have 11 laps of racing to go, and he's the fastest car on the racetrack. While we watch the race for the runner-up spot, Baxter, Collette, Brickley, triple threat match off in turn 2 while Collette kisses the wall.
That lets Baxter get in front, and he throws a little bit of a block. Now they're side by side for third. Brickley on the inside of Collette. That's exactly what the 12 wants to see. He wants them battling so that he can focus full attention on Duggar. The last thing that any of them wants to see, though, is that 10 just eating up the gap in front of him. Now that will fall off quickly, but right now Lark is running 15 twos. and the rest of the leaders towards the end of that last one were running 15.6s. So
It's the thing, though, at the moment. Lark in that dirty air, Duggar with the clean air. There's a run underneath once again by Lark. Able to fire off better on quarter exit with fresh rear tires. He's up to 4th. Quickest car on the racetrack. 8 laps to go. Basically just needs to pass one car every 2 laps and he'll get the stage win possibly. But Bristol laps tick off quick.
that they do, it is constantly fighting and pushing forward, and we'll have to see what Lark is able to do. I think he's in a good position. If he stays out here, he'll get the track position for the start of the 3rd stage, which is more important than the 10, 15 laps he'll have on his tires. But Duggar, 72 lap old tires, running 15.3s as it is. William Lark in traffic running 15.1s and 2s. So it's going to be very close to see if he can make it up on the run to the end.
Daniel Best making moves after he got held up on the restart, up to 7th, challenging Carpenter for 6th, but Carpenter makes the car wide in turns 1 and 2. Lark for 3rd on Billy Brickley. He's got it this time 5, maybe not yet, 4 to go in the stage.
Close battle side by side there for 3rd. I don't know if he's got enough time to go and make it all the way up to Duggar, so that is a huge sigh of relief for the 15 and the 12. They want to see the 10 stuck side by side with the 69 there. He does not want him to get clear if you're the 12 or the 15.
Yeah, again, best battle on the racetrack we have at the moment. Duggar up about 0.8 of a second on the 3rd place cars, Billy Brickley and William Lark. Pits are closed for the rest of stage number 2. Brickley, your stage 1 winner, edged out Alan Duggar by 0.02 of a second for the stage win. 1 to go in the stage, and it will be a much bigger stage win this time for the 15 of Alan Duggar. Trevor Baxter, though, in 2nd, highest spot he's been in this race. He's yet to lead after starting for the back. We're watching that race for 3rd. Off for 4, though. Alan Duggar, your winner in stage number 2 at the line for 3rd. Oh, boy. Give it to William Lark at the line. And the gap, 1,000th of a second. So Alan Duggar wins stage 2 as we'll have the green flag pit stops. We'll have you watch them here and we'll see who will be the leader when we begin stage 3. Now let's see what William does here. Does he stay out or does he come in and maybe top off on fuel? Or maybe could 2 right side tires be a call here? What do you think, Jeff?
Well, he does come down pit road. If you take 2 tires, it's going to be loose at a track where we're already seeing a lot of guys snap loose fairly suddenly. So would be a gutsy call, and you'd have to be driving the tires off of it, but it could work. I could see that working and working well.
Well, 1 driver staying out here. They'll also play the gamble. He pitted on lap 143. That's Will Hewitt in the 11. And he won't come in this time, so we'll have another new leader in this race when we begin stage 3. The battle of the race off of pit road. It's going to be Alan Duggar or Trevor Baxter. I think it was the 12
Looks
by
like
a
it.
hair as he was pushing the 15 down. Trying to get that race win off of pit road. That's followed by Brickley. Lark, who took 4 tires. Roland Collette in 5th. So 4 tires for everyone that pitted, but it's Will Hewitt who'll come down pit road this time. By will start tail. And we'll take a break here as we get set to begin stage number 3 when we come back. Trevor Baxter, your new leader, when we come back to green. It's Door Cup Series playoff action on Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Getting set to begin Stage 3 at Bristol Motor Speedway for the Door Cup Series playoffs at Bristol next week. Our second set of the playoffs as we head to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for a wicked fast race Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on Maconi Entertainment. Maurice Cal alongside Jeff Maconi, Christian Hill, and Mission Control. A new leader when we come back to green is Trevor Baxter. This time, though, he selects the bottom, different than what everyone else has chosen. And it works out for the 12 car as we are back to green. Duggar holds tight in second. Side by side for third, William Lark, Daniel Best. But look at the run by the 5 off for turn 2. A little love tap to the 15 of Duggar in the race for second. Nearly 3 wide mid-pack. Duggar hangs on to 2 at the line for third. I think it was Best over William Lark. Great action as Hugh Brown goes sideways. Stacks up. Oh boy, everybody hanging on. One driver in the wall, that was James Nesta, but somehow, Jeff, everybody kept it straight.
Very easy for things to go awry on a restart here at Bristol. We've seen that a couple times. And right now you see the 10, he is trying to hold on to it, William Lark. Notice the damage on the front end of Daniel Best's car. It's pretty smashed in, but right in the center. Doesn't seem to be impacting it too heavily. We'll have to see how that holds up long run. But now the 14, Stephen Bird, is really charging hard. He wants to make up as many positions as he can. He knows how important it is to make those passes quickly and then fall into line where passing becomes difficult about 5 to 10 laps into a run.
Trevor Baxter, your new race leader, and this is basically roles reversed out after what happened last week at Gateway. Last week, would dominate the first 2 stages. Lost the lead early in stage 3 after the car got tight. Chris Essery took advantage and took the race win. This time, Baxter started from the back, didn't lead it all in the first 2 stages, and now lead in stage 3 as we go to yellow with Will Hewitt around in turn 4. Remember, this was a driver that stayed out at first and then pitted to start in the back of the stage, and this was kind of a weird accident to say the least here, Jeff, as we'll pull up the replay here in just a matter of moments. But this one started about half a straightaway in front of the 11 of Hewitt. As wait till you see the car that pulls up in front. Right there, that's Michael Reeves in the 00. And watching this, Reeves actually got sideways off of turn 2, racing Hugh Brown for a spot, and had caught the inside wall. There you see it right there on your screen in the background, Reeves getting sideways, and Hewitt just did not have enough time to check up. And unfortunately, Molly won't be too pleased about that, seeing Hewitt get sideways.
No, probably not. You see here, just the same thing. We've seen it now the 3rd time tonight. You get loose off of 2, bounce it off that inside wall, and you try to keep it going, but you can't just come back up on track like that. The 11 had nowhere to go.
So caution flag waves once again here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And how about Trevor Baxter, who started 21st, your leader? Alan Duggar started 11th in second. Hugh Brown in 8th. He started back in 19th. 3 drivers up at least 10 spots here in this door-to-door playoff race. And again, all the racing here on Sunday nights brought to you by our friends at Kinetic Gaming. Make sure you visit their website at kineticgaming.org. Well, Jeff, as drivers start to has drivers had a strong car early as we have 150 laps remaining, you also want to make sure you have a strong car late. You've got to be good early and have enough in reserve for those long last runs. Some drivers, they dominate early but fade. Winning at Bristol often means you have speed when it matters near the end.
Absolutely. You spend the whole race really preparing for what's expected to be short runs at the end. So those long runs help to get you there, but you can expect in the last 20 to 30 laps, it will be short run after short run after short run. And you need to make sure you're strong there and you're able to capitalize on the opportunities in front of you. So expect to see drivers push it hard here. We are past the halfway, 150 laps to go. And Baxter, leading the way from the inside, gets a great jump, pulls clear of Duggar, and now side by side for third place, but not for long as that 5 car immediately, Daniel Best pulls himself clear, and the 10 of William Lark is looking to follow.
A lot of racing obviously left to go as Lark and Bird drag race for 4th, given to the 14 at the line. I believe that's the highest spot that Bird has been in this race tonight. Alan Duggar chasing down Trevor Baxter for the race lead. Baxter nearly loses it in turn number 3. Top 5, a gaggle of cars across the line as Bird slaps the wall for just a moment.
Almost went 3 wide there, and more cars on the wall. That was Duggar, I believe, as he is right on that back bumper of Trevor Baxter. Say that 10 times fast if you're watching at home. And they're side by side for 3rd, side by side for 5th.
Oh, I got Bird. Catches the side of Lark.
5th and 7th. And that is multiple cars around. Caution is out, and Nate Pollard barely avoids calamity there by slamming the front end. That was very close.
A hard crash, though, for the 10 of William Lark, and that may be his race. One of the fastest cars here is done for after having nowhere to go. Watch the replay here as Bird just gets sideways, just steps out off of turn 2. And watch this impact by the 10. Ouch, hood disintegrates. Michael Kurgulak, how in the world did he miss it? I don't know. Then you see Hegland, Pollard also involved. I want to ride on board.
That contact there for Pollard did look a bit more significant than I initially thought. I thought he avoided running into the back one, so the 16 with front end damage, so the 10 with very heavy front end damage. That is some very strong cars all involved with heavy damage to each of them. Yeah, that is going to be major damage for the 10, but you're right. I don't know how that 41 avoided it there. That was incredible.
I would like to ride on board with him as well if we can. Bear with me for breaking the 4th wall, but I really do want to check that on board. Bunch of drivers coming down pit road. Watch Kurgulak here. Look at how close he is to hitting the 14 first here. Holy moly. And then the 10 behind him nearly came at him at the end. A cold brown moment. The Good Hands Driving Award. Without, or no, I'm sorry. We have an ARCA driver in here, the Reese's Sweet Move of the race.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Absolutely. The Reese's Sweet Move of the race contender. Make sure to tune in and vote with results announced on Monday morning, or I believe that's how they call it. Eric Brennan and Phil Parsons up in the booth. But if we're now cleared to break the 4th wall, I will be sure to call out Christian Hill, our producer, who has just put in our private chat that Reese's suck.
Hey, I approve that.
You approve of him saying Reese's suck? Well,
yes, I have a peanut allergy, so
I believe that everyone here has forgotten the name of the network, and I think we may be having a new producer. Reese's suck? Trader Joe's dark chocolate peanut butter cups are better?
Trader Joe's is, I will admit, Trader Joe's is the best grocery store out there. I can't have those, obviously. However, though, everything at Trader Joe's is basically delicious.
I will tell you what, I do have, I have started purchasing bumper stickers that I see that I find funny to put on the cars. So, and we do have, for the Reese's 150, I do have a bumper sticker that says, "The only person in the world who understands me is my cashier at Trader Joe's," and that is planned to go on either my car or Alex Club's car, and I've got a couple more as well. But back to Green Flag Racing here. Trevor Baxter gets off with a good jump. Alan Duggar now side by side for 2nd with Daniel Best. Best on the inside. Billy Brinkley lying in wait in 4th place, seeing who he's gonna choose to follow. Looks like he's gonna go for the outside line, and Brinkley on the move as Trevor Baxter gets a little snappy there, but holds on to it.
This race tonight has basically been a race of survival at the last Great Coliseum, but this is typical Bristol, from beating and banging Jeff to caution frequency and just a bit more.
It's also this race and broadcast as a whole are very on brand. So good work, everyone.
Baxter hanging on to the race lead over Alan Duggar, trying to give it most of the field here. Single file down. How about Hugh Brown? He's recovered after being a lap down with a spin. He's up in the top 5, trying to challenge Daniel Best for 4th. Oh, Duggar trying to get that race lead from Baxter. Duggar trying a different line here as well as he's working the top, all the top here. We'll have to wait though. Caution waits. Big crash as we've got the 9 of Collette, 99 of Heglin, and T-boned by, I believe, the 20. I want to say the 29 of James Nesta, and it was. And
the 99 is probably going to take heavy damage. It has taken heavy damage, but with a meatball flag, the right rear tire has completely stopped moving whatsoever. So not great for a rear wheel drive car, as we're going to take a look at the replay here. There we go. That's the tail end of it, 29 with heavy front end damage. And now
watch Collette.
Collette just gets sideways on corner exit and drags it down. Boom! Heavy damage to the inside wall. The 99 goes around, and I'm afraid here comes the T-bone. Is that why? Yep, there it is. The 29 with nowhere to go. That is very heavy damage. Going to take out the 99, probably do quite a number to the 29 as well. Just one of those deals coming off turn 2. It gets so loose out of nowhere. You see the wreck up ahead, and there's a guy down who's inside. He's full speed into it. Oh, boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is interesting here because everyone except the top 4 pits here, Jeff. Now, a lot of drivers have a bunch of sets left to go. Top 4 have stopped 2 or 3 times. Some drivers have pitted 6 or 7 times here. If we get a long run here, it will put the drivers 10 laps short to the distance. However, if we do get a bunch of cautions here, could this maybe help them out, save enough fuel to go the distance possibly?
I think fuel is low on the list of priorities for these guys. Tires are absolutely going to be at a premium. With only the top 4 staying out, they are 30 laps into their run. So Stephen Bird, Michael Reeves, Hugh Brown, Brian Burkett, you're going to be under heavy fire from those guys immediately. So I would expect the top 4 to probably lose at least 3 or 4 spots each to those guys on new tires, and that's best case scenario, I'd say.
Something I feel like you have to factor in, though, in my opinion. You know, Reeves and Bird, 30 laps of fresher tires, but how many green flag runs, how many green flag laps have they run in those last 30 laps? Not too much. So that is going to be something you'll have to really keep in mind when we come back to the green flag. Low love tap by Brickley helps out Baxter. Hold serve over Duggar. And once again, Daniel Best trying to grab that run off for turn number 2. You know, I wonder if that front bumper is affecting damage on the downforce side where he can't get the grip where he can't get the speed he needs on corner exit, to say the least, Jeff.
It almost certainly is. You want all the aerodynamic help that you can get, even at a place like Bristol in this next-gen car.
Here we go.
And now side by side for the lead. The 15 of Duggar bounces it off the wall, trying to get a good run, and the 12 moves up to carry that momentum through the middle. He's going to be able to hold him off for now, but that 15 wants it back. It's right up to that left rear, and almost we see contact.
Give Baxter credit, though, because he left the lane open for Alan Duggar, so they could race side by side if needed. And there it was once again. And Duggar, I feel like he's very good in 1 and 2 compared to 3 and 4.
It seems like it, and with this, the way this track is set up, 3 and 4 are shorter than 1 and 2, so
caution
1 and 2 are wider, but caution is back out very quickly.
Michael Reeves involved, and Ronald Judd with the ARCA brakes in the aftermath.
With the what? brakes? I'm sorry. How could you?
I think it was Michael Reeves, Ronald Judd,
And
both involved,
Reeves not happy with Judd, it seems.
and yeah. Little spicy here at Bristol. Sometimes they'll have that typical night race atmosphere. Watch Reeves in the 0-0, how this happens. Danny Carpenter, wait a second.
Bounces off the wall, and
That's
zero spin.
That's more than him getting into him. That's his teammate too.
Oh, yeah, and it looks like the 64 does try to check up and just slide sideways, which once that happens, there's not really much you can do there either. And yeah, we see there's enough time for him to react, but when he slams the brakes, he's going to slide sideways and still end up getting into the 0-0.
You know, the visibility can be, he had already seen him and was trying to react, but man, once he was making the first reaction, the car just got sideways from underneath him. So not what he was intending to do, obviously.
We've seen a couple wrecks tonight of people just ARCA braking their way into it and not checking up. He at least tried, and props to him for it. There's not much more you can ask of someone than to check up, and unfortunately the car just went around and slid on him, and there was still contact and some damage, but nothing catastrophic, thankfully. Well, now from that angle, maybe it is a bit worse for wear.
Yeah.
Someone has thrown out that Aldi is better than Trader Joe's, which I cannot have a strong opinion on.
Aldi is good too. Aldi is good too.
I don't like Aldi. I don't like it all that much. I've been there. Who carries quarters anymore? They have aisles of just like weird whatever they've got, and then there's a what's it called? A little. It looks like a miniature chair, and it's a cat bed, and we've got one for our cat.
Hear me out. If you try the chicken patties at Aldi and heat them up, they taste exactly like Chick-fil-A. Under 125 to go, we're back to green. Yeah, and it's cheap too. Daniel Best looking for second for the first time in this race. But Brickley trying to hang on here. Trevor Baxter, for those wondering, did pit under that last caution on lap 199 alongside Nate Pollard and Josh Switzer. So the strategy game really happening here at Bristol, because some drivers have some extra sets left over that they didn't use in like the middle of stages 1 and 2. They're going to use them to an advantage. They want fresh rubber as long as they can here.
That they do, and with only 11 drivers left on the lead lap, 12 still on track, it is certainly a race of attrition out here. And all of those drivers, like I said, 11 of them are on the lead lap and running, and right now we just saw Ronald Judd go down pit road, so there are 11 cars on track. Right. So 11 on track, 11 running. Hugh Brown 2 laps down, and I also want to throw out Joshua Switzer has pitted 14 times, not taking tires every time, but that car has been repaired through and through. So yeah, 14 times through the pits to get damage repaired, and that car is still running and running 11.
I think that may be the car that can survive a missile from a tank, possibly. Or that car may actually be a tank, who knows? Battle for the lead is on here. Duggar and Brickley. They've met before here at Bristol in this race tonight. And it seems like we could see a battle break out once again here. But most of the field here just staying patient, just trying to hold their ground here on the bottom for right now, Jeff.
everyone sort of in that single file line. Daniel Best holding on well. I am surprised that these newer tires are not really able to get up and get around these guys on older tires. 50 laps on the 15, the 69, the 5s tires, and then behind them already 20 laps on Burkett, Carpenter, and Baxter were 12 laps on his tires, but we've seen that 12 be quick. Now he is struggling to get back up to the front of the field. They're all running in the 15.2, 15.3 lap times. And Billy Brickley, the fastest of them all, running about half a tenth quicker than the leader, Duggar.
I wonder if it's not only the dirty air that he's feeling in the race car, but also consider at the same time how many green flag laps we've had in the last 30 to 50 laps or so. Not that many, with the cautions breeding cautions at the moment. So this is kind of, you've got that advantage for Baxter still with the fresher tires, but not as big of an advantage like what we saw with William Lark to end stage 2. Here we go, a race on track for third. Best and Burchett.
Side by side here for third, and Best is able to hold on to it. Even with that front end damage, he is strong and able to just keep exactly where he needs to be. So props to him. Even with, I would say, heavy front end damage, he's able to hold on to third and is running competitive lap times, about even with the leader.
Working on a lap car. Let's line the top 2 go. That's Switzer in the 6th, so he would be eligible for the free pass at the moment. Drivers haven't really endeavored heavy lap traffic in this race yet, like we typically see in a Cup race at Bristol. So, it's kind of like a little bit of a, like a little sigh of relief moment, I guess you could see, for whoever's the race through, that they haven't had to deal with that heavy lap traffic to allow the second place car to come in. Burchett, though, having a tough time, though, clearing Switzer. This allows Best to open up a little bit of daylight. About 2 car lengths or so. As you watch Danny Carpenter also get passed behind. But your best race on track here is for third. Bless you, Jeff, as Burchett still working on Best.
Okay, the chat cannot see our production feed, but I told Marty not to throw to me because I was sneezing. And I didn't even sneeze. I was just on the edge. Speaking of being on the edge, the number 14 Viagra car of Ronald Judd is on pit road. He is the 28 laps down and fighting for his life back there. But that is, if we get it's the 64, not the 14, my bad. Take a look at that car. I love it. The Viagra on the side, weapon on the hood. That is a man's car. Good on him. Props to it. Brian Burchett now. He is still battling with Daniel Best, trying to get around him.
Burchett doing everything he can do. I feels like right now that second and the third group just doesn't have anything in the tank unless it's really, a restart situation, obviously. So, but Best is just trying to hit his marks here at the moment, not trying to worry about Brian Burchett here at the moment. As we continue on here, 100 laps of racing remain here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Duggar's led the most laps in this one, up by 3/10 on Billy Brickley. These have been 2 of the 3 best cars in this race. The other one, Trevor Baxter, who has not been able to gain some time on Danny Carpenter for those who are in the race for 5th. Good crossover by Burchett. Tries to make a move here on Daniel Best. The drag race for 3rd. Hang on, Burchett tight. A little bit of a kiss there to the 5 of Daniel Best. It's a match made for heaven, though, as Best edges out Burchett the line for 3rd for right now. Burchett, though, really tight because of the shallow entries in the corner, but Best up in the wall.
Partially him being tight and probably patience running thin. Burchett is quicker and
caution,
can't get around, and here comes the caution.
Switzer around in turn 4 in the 6th, and I would not be surprised if this brought your top 3 down pit road this time in Douglas, Brickley, and Best. Replay of what happened here to the 6th, and he was supposed to be the free pass car. but will not get it for causing the caution. Oh, someone else spun in front of him. I couldn't tell who that was, and this is actually going to bring everybody down pit road for those wondering. You know what? That was the previous caution, I think that was. We'll have to see, but front 9 all on pit road. Every lead lap car will take tires here. A bunch of them still have 4 or 5 sets left here, Jeff, so a good time to take tires. The fuel game, you don't have to worry about that anymore without question. If we have a long run to the finish, everyone will have enough. But it's all about the tire game from here on out.
That it is, and we've seen tires seem to not really matter as much. Guys on 30, 50 lap fresher tires not able to get around the guys in front of them, so track position being more important here. You gotta wonder, when will guys start playing the 2 tire game? And look at that, the 6 just goes in and, oh, not too hard of a hit on the nose. And very interesting wreck there, because he's up at the top. We've seen a lot of the wrecks happen when guys are down on the bottom and trying to get up to the top, but right there,
wow.
You see it, he's just carrying a bunch of momentum at the top and gets loose.
Well, Jeff, you were talking about the 2 tire game. That has just been played out. Trevor Baxter took 2. Everyone else took 4. So now we see the question. Now we hear the question. What is better, 4 or 2? Baxter will have the clean air without question. Duggar will have some insurance side tires to see if that can give him maybe a little bit extra grip. Typically it doesn't, but on a track like Bristol, you're likely going to want it. Another key, not the best pit stop as well either for Billy Brickley, who dropped down to 4th for those wondering. As we get set to come back to the green flag, just over 90 laps of racing to go. 9 cars on the lead lap. It's Baxter, Duggar, row 1, Best Brickley, row 2, Carpenter, Burchett, row 3, Kurgelak, Hewitt, row 4, and Stephen Bird is the 9th place car at the moment. 92 laps of racing remain here at Bristol. Baxter fires. Oh, spinning the tires there, the 5 of Daniel Best. He loses a plethora of spots, and he's now the final car on the lead lap, loses a ton of track time. This moves the 69 of Brickley to 3rd, Burchett 4th, Danny Carpenter rounds out the top 5, and Duggar wants the race lead off for 4.
Very close battle up at the front here. Duggar looking to that inside, but we've seen track position being a great asset for these drivers here, and lets them play a lot of defense without exerting much effort. I think Trevor Baxter will probably be able to hold off Alan Duggar, and we've seen him be successful at it by just showing them the bottom, giving them exactly what they want, but carrying the momentum through the middle with that 12 car. He's running half a lane higher and just carrying so much momentum down the straightaways.
We're at 5, about 2 car lengths separated from each other, but a different line that time from Baxter. Decides to take the 2nd groove. Compared to Duggar that last time through, this allows the 15 to close in a little bit. And now the top 3 within striking distance for the race lead. It's just very tough to tell. It's just basically a stalemate of an advantage right now between Baxter and Duggar. But Baxter's car, though, Jeff, for the looks of it, does he seem to be a little bit tight through each corner?
It does seem that way, and we'll have to see how much of that is just the way he's driving it and choosing to just be where he is, or how much of it is the car not handling the way he needs it to. It could be either or. It's only he knows. So right now, though, you see Alan Duggar can't get that run to get side by side and start side drafting, and that could open the door for Brickley if Duggar isn't careful. That middle line is quick, side by side with someone, but action behind.
Baxter got tight. I thought that was going to happen. Remember, he lost the lead in stage 3 at Gateway last week because he had a really tight car in 1 and 2. Brickley sideways off for turn 4, loses some steam to the 2nd place car. Duggar now just trying to reset and grab the race lead. And remember as well, the top was not the place to be in our last 2 green flag runs. It was the bottom side that was completely dominant.
That it was, and it seems like right now...
Oh, on the wall with Brickley.
Brickley, that is a hard hit, and he is dropping like a rock. I don't really know what happened there. If he got loose and snapped into the wall?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Tried to save it, but too much up on the wall, and there's damage as well on the 3 of Burchette. There was some contact. I think the damage, though, just cosmetic. Nothing on the frame-wise.
Brickley does have to pit. That is heavy damage. That car is just not able to turn. Probably a broken toe link, which can happen in iRacing, and it's, I believe, about 5 to 8 minutes to repair.
A contender to win. Basically done for victory here tonight. That's basically just the agony of defeat. The 69 is feeling right now. Well, we watched the top 2, basically, and then there were 2 here at the moment. It's like an Agatha Christie novel when you come to Bristol Motor Speedway.
What does that mean?
You've never read And Then There Were None?
No, I can't say that I have. What? Our producer's yelling at me too. What have I been missing?
Have you watched, are you a Family Guy viewer? Do you watch Family Guy? I
don't watch it. I mean, the only book reference that comes to mind from Family Guy is when he says, "There's no way you've read that." When he's he's got no arms, and he says, "I fell in love with a nurse during World War II."
Watch the season 9 premiere. That's basically the book.
Okay, you know what? We are an internet broadcast. Can we get that? Like, we'll split the screen in half, Christian, our producer, and the bottom half will just be Family Guy funny moments.
Do you want
copyright?
Do you want Seth MacFarlane to throw a Do you want Seth MacFarlane to throw a copyright strike on your channel, Jeff?
No, we'll avoid copyright. We'll flip it over and then invert it, and that'll be the bottom half. And then the top half will be Subway Surfers, and then in the corner, we've got this side-by-side battle for the lead as Alan Duggar trying to make that bottom work, but anytime he goes down there, Baxter just moves up, carries the momentum on exit, and as soon as he's clear, moves back down the track to keep running the line he wants to run.
It's great driving by Duggar, just trying to get closer and closer, and great defensive driving as well at the same time by Trevor Baxter. They're the top 2 in standings after Gateway with under 75 laps of racing to go. Baxter with a big point lead coming on into the weekend. Duggar looking for win 4 on the season. Jeff, this is how good Trevor Baxter is. He's looking for win number 13 of 2025.
I'm looking for win 1 in anything, so props to him. That is going to be quite the run if he's able to pull it off, and across multiple different track types as well. There's nowhere that this series has gone that he has not been really successful in contending for at least a chance at the win, and I believe he won the race here earlier this year in April, so that'll be back-to-back would be very impressive for the 12.
He would look for the sweep here. Once again, obviously not a full weekend sweep that like what Kyle Busch has done twice at Bristol. But yeah, it would be a track sweep for sure. Gap is within half a car length between the top 2, and it's basically all eyes on this for the rest of the way through. And it's kind of been like in this race here, Jeff. It's kind of like the series that I announced for in real life. We've had 2 dominant drivers all season long. It's basically been one mistake and you're done for. And that's what the case has been in this race.
That has been the trend here, and it's just amazing. Baxter is playing games with Alan Duggar. As soon as Duggar gets a run on that bottom, Baxter just moves up another half a lane, gets a huge run on corner exit, and pulls away another 2-3 car length. Then Duggar digs deep, has to run him down, try and catch up to him again. They've got another full second back to Brian in third in the 3. Then half a second to Danny Carpenter, another 0.8 back to the 41, then Daniel Best, the second and a half back. So the field is now very spread out. These are the two closest drivers to each other, except for 7th and 8th. But right now, Baxter just easily able to hold off Duggar, and Duggar working very hard to try and keep up with him.
It's also like as well, remember this too, Baxter had that moment in stage 1 where he got sideways, caught the wall not once but twice, never looped it, just dropped down the leaderboard like a rock, and has hung on, has come back, I should say, hanging on to this race lead. 2 tires, still paying off with 63 laps of race to go, make it 62 now. Baxter leading by 2/10 on Alan Duggar. And this is most likely going to be the battle for the race win here.
I think it will be, and it's going to be continuing for a while here. There are, right now, 14 cars on track, and only 8 of those are on the lead lap. 9th and 10th are 1 lap down, and then you have Billy Brickley 20 down, Michael Reeves 28 down, Nate Pollard 31 down, James Nesta 32 down, and Ronald Judd 35 laps down. So those guys are still running, just multiple laps down, getting damage repaired. As we see now, Duggar trying that outside line. He's pulling the Trevor Baxter strat. He's going to move up, try and get that momentum rolling, but I think you'll find as soon as he gets too close for comfort, you'll see the 12 move up. He'll start running that higher line, maybe. We'll see. As they are now approaching lap traffic, he gets well down low out of the way. That is the 64 of Ronald Judd. Does not want to play in part in this. And he did a little bit of contact there between Baxter and Duggar, but right back to square one. Baxter holds the outside line, carries the momentum on corner exit, and pulls 2 or 3 car lengths on Duggar, and we'll just see it happen again and again. That's the glory of being the leader here, is you get to control when you move to that top and start pulling away.
Yeah, Duggar tried to get even once more, maybe trying to use lap traffic of Judd to his advantage, and we did see as well a little bit of a Bristol bump and run. That could possibly be a case late in this one if we're down to the final laps. I think in a track like Bristol, if it's going to come down to this, I think you want to be the guy in second, in my opinion.
Here comes that run to the outside. Baxter looks like a mistake. He's not able to get up and block, but somehow, someway, manages to come out of it looking peachy. That 12, you're seeing him diamond the corner. He gets really down on entry, then moves up half a lane. He's just around here cruising, having himself a very nice, relaxing race. And I think Duggar is fighting very hard to try and get up and keep up with him and get around him. We see that side-by-side battle for 4th. Danny Carpenter up on the outside, trying to hold off the 41, and looks like he'll be able to do it, but he's going to need a good run on corner exit here to seal the deal.
And we're about to see in just a little bit, perhaps the heaviest lap traffic that we've seen in this race tonight with the leaders. Carpenter, Kurgulak on your screen for 4th. I believe this is the first time tonight that Kurgulak's been running in the top 5, so give credits to him for dodging basically all the accidents that we have had here this evening. Especially that close call when we rode on board with him earlier on. So really 2 battles to keep an eye on here, and we've got 50 laps of racing left to go. Trevor Baxter leading by 0.3 of a second. Alan Duggar with a lot of back marker approaching. And don't forget next week as well for the Door Cup Series, the playoffs next week. We head to the Granite State of New Hampshire Motor Speedway for what we hope is a wicked good race. We hope you join us next Sunday night, 8 o'clock, right here on Maconi Entertainment, your home for the Door Cup Series playoffs. The driver's putting a lap on Michael Reeves in the 00, who actually caught the wall for just a moment. What does Duggar have to do to reel in Trevor Baxter? They're coming up on 2 drivers here, Jeff. James Nesta and Josh Schwitzer. Not battling for position at the moment, but they're racing pretty close, though, to the point where it could get interesting for Baxter if the 2 get side by side.
The best bet that Duggar will have is he'll need to take advantage of that lap traffic, hope that Baxter gets checked up, and then Duggar has the chance to jump to that outside. He needs to take away that outside line from the 12, because with the way it works, when the 15 gets to the bottom and the 12 is on the outside, he will not win that side-by-side. But if the 15 can get there and at least hold him down and maybe put him behind a lap car and use him as a pick, it's possible that he can get the pass done. We've seen how difficult it is here to get a pass completed. We've seen guys side by side for 5 to 8 laps, and a lot of the times that's ended in heartbreak with one of them wrecking, just not from contact, but by themselves they get loose. So if they do get side by side, Duggar needs to make the pass quick. Duggar needs to be on the outside to do it, and they're still 3/10 apart. They're running very, very similar lap times. It's going to be very tough for the 15 to make the move successfully.
Well, in lap traffic, I'll tell you this, Duggar's been dropping a 10th and a half. When Baxter's in dirty air, when Baxter's in the clean air, Duggar's still gaining some time, but just not as much. So, gap though at 4/10 of a second. Let's go to another battle on track. Let's watch 6th here. You're actually already on that race for 6th. Daniel Best and Stephen Bird. Bird starting from 10th tonight. Bird started back in the 5th position. "40 laps of racing to go here at Bristol, and drivers basically in this long run. I know you got to try and have that balance here too, Jeff, at the same time between gain a fuel for your car to now, all right, we're in the late stages. I got to try and find a way to gain some more speed at the same time."
Also, another thing to consider with that is we have been in this stint for 57 laps, this green flag run. These guys are now on these tires for green flag laps longer than they have all race. They've been on 50 to 60 lap old tires, but for each one of those occasions, there were 2 or 3 cautions to break that up. These tires are now getting old. Baxter is able to hold on, and now pulling away from Duggar a little bit, about half a second. This could be that hump that Duggar is now stuck at the bottom of, where he's burnt his tires off trying to keep up with Baxter in the clean air, and now Duggar just has nothing left for him. He's consistently losing about half a tenth a lap. Some laps he's able to pull it back. Last lap he was actually a tenth quicker, but Duggar will really have to dig deep to catch up and make a move at Baxter.
Oh, but look at this. Baxter was having a little bit of a tough time getting past Hugh Brown in that 35, and now he does. You're right on board, though, with Stephen Bird trying to grab the 6th spot. Still in that lap traffic for just a little bit. May have another race brewing here for 3rd. Michael Kurdzielak has actually gotten past Brian Burchett for the 3rd spot. And Kurdzielak matching leader's pace. In fact, bettering it by a couple hundredths a lap. Now, he's very far back, though, 2.6 seconds. But for Michael Kurdzielak, this is basically the best run that he has had so far in this race.
That it has, and he's been very quick long run. We've seen him struggling a little bit short run, but you see Daniel Best right there get a little bit loose. He's fallen back to 6th. I believe he started this run consistently in 3rd place and was able to hold on to it for a while. Best has now fallen back to 6th. That's a very close call right there. He's battling hard with Stephen Bird, and this battle is the most exciting on track for sure. They are just a car length apart, and the 14's a little bit quicker, but the 5 has the track position.
30 laps to go here at Bristol. 15 seconds a lap, basically. If you blink, you miss basically half a straightaway. And this race can end at any moment. And look at this, Bird nearly up on the wall there. Rides it off for 4. And man, he nearly got sideways, especially on worn tires. Give credit for Bird for that car control there, Jeff.
For sure, and it's funny. You said blink and you miss it, and then as soon as you said that, the battle we'd been watching for 10 laps, we cut away from it, and immediately the 14 overdrives it, gets up into the wall. So we blinked and we missed it, but we caught the tail end of that contact right there, and it shouldn't damage the 14, but losing all of that momentum that he's finally been able to make up and catch up to the back 155, all of that momentum gone is very, very frustrating for a driver.
Burchett, meanwhile, has caught Kurdzielak as well, as 41 starting to approach Hugh Brown once again. So the battle for third starting to get interesting here once more at Bristol, as we're now in the witching hour of this one with 25 laps to go. Baxter the leader. It's been best on the long run. Gap at nearly 1 second on Alan Duggar.
And that gap has been growing. It was consistently about 2 to 3 tenths, and over the past 15-20 laps, that gap has grown about half a second. Duggar able to run about as quick as Baxter in clean air, but when they hit traffic, Baxter is able to get through it much quicker than Duggar in the Duggar who is in the dirty air, I should say. Both of them with 72 laps on their tires, so this is where you really start to see that endurance for a very, very long run start to come out and win in the end, with Baxter now pulling away significantly over Duggar.
Now, give credit to this long run for ending. You know, the night race has been known for these long runs to end shows. In fact, Saturday night was the first ever Bristol night race, in fact, to go into overtime ever, which is crazy to think considering a short track like Bristol. "20 laps of racing to go."
As they run right now, 7 cars are on the lead lap. There are 14 cars of the original 22 still running. Will Hewitt is 1 lap down. Hugh Brown is 2 down. Joshua Switzer 2 down. Michael Reeves 29 down. Nate Pollard 31 down, who was on the pole and then immediately got a black flag on the start and clawed his way back up to running at the front before getting heavy damage. James Nesta 33 down. Ronald Judd 38 down. So of all of these cars, Stephen Bird now getting around Daniel Best. We see that pass right there. We'll see how long it lasts. They are throwing haymakers, but able to hold on is that 14 car of Stephen Bird. Now finally clear of the 5 of Daniel Best. We'll see how long he's able to hold off that 5, though.
The race for 6th with lap traffic as a factor. See here where the 14 goes. Lap traffic typically told from time to time, hold your line. Well, the leaders are responsible for making their way past the back markers there, and Bird does that successfully. And now Bess has to try and attack and having a little bit of a tougher time here getting past Switzer. Does it there that time. Trevor Baxter, though, all alone with 13 laps remaining at Bristol Motor Speedway, up 1.5 seconds on Alan Duggar in the number 15. And I mentioned this earlier on in the show. This is basically roles reversed from what we saw last week at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Baxter dominated the first 2 stages, got tight, lost a lot of track position in stage 3. Cost him a chance at the race win, finished on the podium though. This week starts from the back, doesn't lead at all in the first 2 stages. Took the lead in stage number 3 after pit stop / strategy. And on the last stop on lap 230. 2 tires, everybody else took 4. And Baxter's been in command ever since. He's got 10 laps to go, 9 at the line, Jeff.
That 2-tire call will prove to be monumental. We talked about it. We weren't sure how effective it would be. We were worried it was going to make him loose on top of an already loose track. But seems to have worked out perfectly for him. He is just pulling away from Duggar, now over a 1.5-second gap. He's put all but 7 cars at least 1 lap down. He's not too far from really lapping 6th and 7th, about 5 or 6 seconds from doing so. But with 8 laps to go here, he is just hoping this race stays clean and green to the end, because if there is a caution, it would throw everything and everyone for a loop.
And you know, these 2 tire calls, you typically see them with under 50 laps to go, because you can gain valuable track position without sacrificing too much grip. Obviously, the risk is the higher tire wear on the long green flag runs, but the payoff can be restarting with that track position, which obviously Baxter had starting on row 1 instead of starting back in like row 5 or so from 10th or deeper. So Burchett losing some time once again, this time to Danny Carpenter in a battle for 4th position. Likely the final battle of this one is we've got 4 laps of racing to go here at Bristol. Carpenter's been better. That time Burchett was better by a 10th last time by, but Carpenter been the better man on average in these last couple laps or so. And now 2 laps left for Baxter. He's nearly won half of the races in this entire season. 12 wins coming in to the 2025 campaign, coming into Bristol. Doctor's jacket in the air. Final lap underway for the driver of the Borla exhaust, number 12. Continues to be the favorite to win the championship this season. Off for turn number 4, win number 13 of 2025. Trevor Baxter, your winner at Bristol, baby. Alan Duggar to finish in 2nd, Michael Kurdzielak in 3rd. The fireworks go up. Brian Burchett in 4th, and Danny Carpenter rounds out your top 5. Stephen Bird in 6th, Daniel Best 7th, Will Hewitt in 8th, Hugh Brown 9th, and Josh Switzer rounds out the top 10. It's burnout time for Baxter. We'll step aside real quick, and then we'll get you your full race rundown and talk to your top 3 in just a moment on Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Post-race coverage underway at Bristol Motor Speedway for the Door Racing League Cup Series playoffs. Marty Scala alongside Jeff Maconi, Christian Hill with us. Trevor Baxter, your winner, another big win for him. 2.6 second victory on Alan Duggar. Michael Krujulak in third. Brian Burchett in fourth. Danny Carpenter fifth. Stephen Bird sixth. Daniel Best in seventh. Those are the drivers that finished on the lead lap. Will Hewitt in eighth. Hugh Brown in ninth. And Josh Switzer rounds out the top 10. Jeff?
In 11th, still running, was Michael Reeves, Nate Pollard in 12th, James Nesta 13th, Ronald Judd 14th, and Billy Brickley, the first one, out in 15th, 80 laps down. Roland Collett 16th, Thomas Hegland 17th, William Lark 18th, Ryan Steinoff 19th, and Thomas Freeman in 20th. There were 22 cars, that's 22 cars that started the race. Tommy Osborne 21st, and Joshua Hyatt out early in 22nd. And then race control, Mike Wombold was 23rd, so shout out to him. He has not finished anywhere except dead last so far this season, but he is number one in our hearts.
Absolutely he is. So, all right, with that being said, I think it's time to talk to your top three. We'll start things off here with your race winner tonight in Trevor Baxter. Trevor, another dominant win for you tonight at Bristol in Stage 3, to say the least. Roles were reversed from last week. Take me through the long run there at the end and what led to the decision to go for 2 tires over 4.
Yeah, what a race, man, I'm telling you. Didn't have time to queue, barely got on here in time, and hadn't done a lot of laps this week. So we raced a couple of NIS races. Did okay in one of them, got a couple laps down, decided to call it a night, and then got in one this morning, was out on lap 20, so didn't get much practice in. Started in the back of the field, kind of feeling the car out, was able to make some passes. A couple cautions came out, gave us opportunity to get back, top 10-ish before stage 1 was over, and then stage 2 came, and we tried to keep the car clean and get back up towards the front. Got back up towards the front and was able to pit, got in the lead, and ran a couple laps. Caution was thrown, and we got the lead and decided to pit. I saw the green gas can come on. I knew, hey, let's go ahead and pit and try to see if we can make it on fuel. Maybe everybody else won't pit, and that's what happened. Another caution came out. We only ran, 15, 20 laps at that point. And I was like, right sides of the call here. Get the lead back. And wasn't sure if it was going to work out in the long run. Made a big adjustment to the car, loosened it up, made sure we were good on getting the speed on the early entry. When I did that, the car was hitting bad on the track. So you saw me and Alan get real close there at the beginning of the stage, coming to the final stage there in stage 3, and it was really sketchy. I thought I was going to lose the car a couple times during the run, first 25, 30 laps, but we held on to it, and once that thing got the fuel out of it, it was a rocket ship, and it just drove itself to the finish line.
How were you able to hang on to that car in stage one when you got sideways? I think there was some contact there. You caught the wall not once but twice. How were you able to hang on to that and come back?
That's that would be Ken Byron and the house drivers teaching me how to drive. That was the gold gas brake, straighten the car out, and the wall helped a little bit too. So that definitely could have took us out of the race. I thought we were done at that point, but I held the gas down, hit the brake, and it straightened out, and we kept rolling. So that's what happened.
A great win for you, though, tonight. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Yeah, definitely glad to be back in victory lane here with the Door to Door Motorsports. Shout out to them. Shout out to everybody running the league. Shout out to y'all doing the broadcast, Ken Byron, Ryko. Man, I'm telling you, that car we had at the end was probably one of the best race cars I've ever drove on iRacing. It was incredible, and it never cut off. It was just go, 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 and I think we had 100 more laps. It'd be ready to go if we didn't run out of fuel. So I'm tickled to death with the setup this week. It was fantastic. I couldn't ask for a better car, especially coming to stage 3 there. But shout out to SBR Motorsports. Shout out to Ryko. Shout out to Ken Byron. Shout out to everybody watching, everybody supporting the stream, and appreciate what y'all do.
Congratulations on a great win.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a good night.
You as well. Trevor Baxter, your winner here this evening. Our second place finisher tonight. A great run from him. Alan Duggar, he's caught up with Jeff.
Alan, you were able to hold on for, probably 60, 70 laps right on that back bumper of the 12. Do you think he was taking it easy, and how hard were you pushing just to maintain with him?
I was pushing pretty hard to maintain with him. I should have been more patient and stay out of his dirty air. I just burnt the right front up too soon.
It seemed like he was running about half a lane higher and able to just carry those huge runs on corner exit. Do you think there was anything you could have done, moved up even higher, tried running the wall even, or was it just one of those zero-sum games where the track position was so important that because he was in front of you, even on those 2 tires, he just had the advantage and it was insurmountable?
Yeah, track position is king, especially here. Running the wall, there's absolutely no grip up there, so it was going to be tough. Even if I could get it to his outside, it was still going to be tough to get around him because he's so fast, and he's a great driver, and he knows how to save his stuff.
Well, it was still a very solid run coming home in second tonight. How are you feeling for New Hampshire, and who do you want to thank for a good run?
Feeling pretty good about New Hampshire. Just hope to have another good finish. I'd like to thank Flying Change Farms, Turner's Alignment, Silla Motorsports, Boris Bar Ranch, you guys putting on a good broadcast. I'd like to thank the guys from Door to Door letting us come out here and play, and that's all.
A second place run tonight for Alan Duggar. It was a great race, a long run to the end, sort of the inverse of what we thought it would be, a long run at the start and short runs to the end. But second place for the 15 of Alan Duggar, and we'll see you next week in New Hampshire.
Thank you, sir.
Alan Duggar finishing runner-up here this evening. And now I head to the bottom step of the podium and talk with Michael Kurgelak on Michael, a heck of a run there late in the race. What was working well for you?
I just stayed to that yellow line and just want to wrap that yellow line best I could and just let it pull me around the corner. And it was working pretty good, but I felt like I kind of stalled out trying to catch Duggar. So
I'm not gonna lie as well. There was a moment in stage number 2 where I thought you were done. I thought you were gonna be involved in that big wreck. I think it was with Lark and everyone else, but somehow you missed it. I don't know how that happened.
yeah, it was definitely close. I was puckered up for sure, and I can't believe it worked out, but it did.
Jeff, I think that's the guy you want to give a Reese's to.
Oh, apparently everyone here hates Reese's, so I guess it'd be torturing him.
Anyway, regardless though, Michael, before we let you go, who you want to give shout outs to?
One shout out to my crew chief Philip and the Chris Essery for helping me learn to save some tires, and Brian Burchett, pretty good team thing today, and Tommy Osborne.
Great run tonight. Congratulations on the third place run, Michael. We'll hope to talk to you again next week.
Thanks, sir.
So that's our top three. Alan Duggar, Michael Kurzelek, but Trevor Baxter, the man that takes home the win. Jeff, before we head on out here, final thoughts on Bristol tonight.
It certainly bucked a lot of the expectations that at least I had going into it. Maybe some people knew more than I did, but very tough race in that the restart saw a lot of chaos, and caution certainly did breed cautions for some of it. But two tires ended up being the dominant call with a great long run to the end, and only a handful of guys were able to survive. So I guess the key takeaway is for a place as hard as Bristol, you just have to survive and you'll get a solid top 10 finish. So props to him. That was a very smart run by the number 12. He was playing the 15 sort of like a fiddle, just running exactly where he needed to, keep the 15 running his tires off with about a 3/10 gap, and then all of a sudden he pulls out to, I believe it was over 2 seconds at the end, just to win it. So a very smart race by the 12, and a very good race by everyone else that was able to survive until the end, because it was not easy. A lot of big crashes that took a lot of fast drivers out.
Without question, it was. So with that, we will bid you adieu here. Don't forget some action coming up on Maconi Entertainment. Don't miss out Tuesday night, Racers Elite Truck Series. We got a good show planned for you there. They will be running at New Hampshire Motor Speedway as well. Also got Aces of Sim Sports starting up their league Wednesday night at 9:15. Full Length Cup Challenge will also be around as well Saturday night. They'll be also at New Hampshire. And same for us for Door to Door Racing League next Sunday. Don't miss out on that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on those notifications whenever we go live. That'll do it for us here at Maconi Entertainment. On behalf of everyone here, Christian Hill, working in Mission Control, my broadcast partner, and our fearless leader, Jeff Maconi. Marty Scala saying so long. Congratulations, Trevor Baxter, your winner at Bristol Motor Speedway. Thanks for joining us. So long.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.